The words that you speak matter.
Instead of saying, I don't want to be poor, saying, I'm going to be rich. Eliminate getting broke in the first place. And that starts with the way you talk. I pray 2 times a day.
Imagine telling yourself, I'm going to be rich, over and over again, until it happens exactly like you said it. This week's guest, Kevin, is living proof why the words that you speak matter. If there's one thing I've learned from interviewing millionaire after millionaire, it's that they all have the same self-talk. This may be the most important 90 minutes you ever listen to.
I started dropshipping. I was making 2 years' salary in 1 month. They wanted me to get back to the office 5 days a week. Well, everybody could work from home. But my manager called me and I said, I'm just going to work at home. And I'm sitting like this and I'm telling, before this conversation is going to get very awkward, I immediately resign. I'm going to be filthy, dirty rich.
A bet on yourself.
Best bet you can do.
Welcome back to another episode of the Theo Clark podcast, where I interview e-commerce entrepreneurs. Today's podcast is sponsored by Commercive Fulfillment, your trusted e-commerce fulfillment partner. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Kevin, Dominic. Kevin, what's up, brother?
Thank you for inviting me, bro. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. It's an absolute pleasure. Really looking forward to our conversation.
Likewise.
And great to meet you.
Thank you. How's Bali been for you so far?
Well, we were talking about that a moment ago, weren't we?
Yeah.
It's been enjoyable. It's been a bit of a culture shock, actually. First coming here from, like we said, the UK and Dubai. I think I said that in a voice note to you as well. When I first landed, I was a bit like, oh, this doesn't look exactly like it does on Instagram. There's a lot of little nuances that you don't see. Not necessarily that it's bad, but you just... immediately, the only way I can describe it was shock. But then once you get used to the bikes, the way of life, how to do everything, it just becomes much more natural. And actually, there's a sense of freedom here, I would say.
There is. And the reason that there's freedom here is because there are not a lot of laws and rules. Or at least you don't know about them. For example, the traffic, everybody goes left, right, rights on the sidewalk. It doesn't matter. You know, so that's one thing I really like about Bali, is the freedom. Actually, I think it would be a reversed culture shock for me when I go back to a country, for example, like Dubai or my own country, the Netherlands or UK, where they have a lot of laws and regulations, because I'm used to this freedom, you know. And that's the exact reason why I came here. Like freedom, good routine. And yes, I agree with you. I also had the same. The first time I came here, like, what kind of shithole is this? Like, they're burning trash everywhere, aside of the road. Like, it's dirty. Sometimes you ride on a place where it extremely stinks, but at some point you don't even notice this anymore, because you're in this extreme bubble of efficiency and manifestation that I don't even notice it anymore. It's just, I just go. I have a very simple life here. I go from the office to or Bali MMA or to Obsidian, or to do Muay Thai or to do fitness, and then I go home. And that's basically it. I don't do a lot of stuff, and that's exactly the reason why I'm here right now. While all the other guys are going back to Europe, partying, I'm like, nah, I don't want to break my momentum. I don't want to break my routine. Now it's going very well, so I need to stick to it, man.
I'm a big advocate of speed and momentum. I feel like once you've built that snowball and it's moving, I want to double down. I want to stay behind it. Of course, it's a bit different at the moment. I'm here in Bali. I just got engaged. It's a holiday. I'm here with my partner.
Congrats, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. So I've taken my foot off the gas a little bit, but it was intentional. Like I said to you in that voice note, Q2, I was like, there's a lot of building going on here. I'm going to be working very hard. I even said it to my missus. I was like, look, for the next 3 months, I'm really going to be locked in. I'm building something, but we're going to celebrate in Bali. We're going to not take my foot off the gas, but just focus a bit more on wellness, have some good food, spend some time together, make some memories. And then when I'm back in Dubai, I've got a list of stuff to do and we're going to get cracking.
That's how it should be, bro. Sometimes you need to relax and sometimes you need to work a little bit harder. But what do you think about the efficiency here? I don't know how you do it on a daily basis, but for example, for me, like the reason why I'm here right now is I've never seen such an efficiency in any country before in my life. So I live in a villa. I have staff working for me all the time. They even live next to the villa 24/7. If I need anything, I can just message them. They will arrange everything. My office is 10 minutes. Obsidian gym, 5 minutes. Bali MMA, 10 minutes. Then you have Motion. Have you been to Motion?
No.
Motion Cafe. So it's like a fitness cafe. They have all kind of healthy stuff. I text them. They already know what I want to eat. I said, I'll be there in 15 minutes. And when I come there, they put the plate on my table within 1 minute. So I eat my lunch, then go back to the office. It costs me maybe 20 minutes. Name me any country who has the same efficiency. If I would message any restaurant in the Netherlands, hey, can you prepare my meals? They're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
It's definitely not going to happen.
It's definitely a different attitude here. The
Yes.
locals so friendly, very, very friendly. I mean, even just a big smile makes all the difference. And I'm yet to meet someone who isn't smiling at me, even if you don't know them. Hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Staff and just general sort of like etiquette here is very high. And I like that a lot. It just has a good feel-good factor about it. Even in the Airbnb we're staying in, every morning, hi, can we come in? Do you need us to clean? Do you need us to replace anything?
Exactly.
You know, is there anything you need? And again, same thing. Like if you say yes, they're at the door in 1 minute. Hi, sir, how are you? Good morning.
Yeah.
3 of them coming in. There's very quick, very efficient. So yeah, I would say for sure.
Yeah.
It does. In some ways, it actually reminds me of Dubai a little bit. In that, especially here in Canggu, I know some things are very different, but like convenience, efficiency, nowhere's more than a 10-15 minute ride away, and it kind of reminds me of kind of being in the center of Dubai in that sense. Plus the people that work in Dubai, again, very high standard of etiquette,
that's true.
high quality. So there are some similarities that I do see, but then also some huge differences as well.
Yeah, I can totally imagine. But you have to keep one thing in mind. And I think it's quite similar when you compare the UK citizens to the Dutch citizens. If the sun is shining today, they already complain that it's going to rain tomorrow. They always find a way to complain. And if you're in this collective energy, it's quite likely that you're going to have the same attitude. Although you don't even notice it, it's going to be subconsciously.
Yeah.
So when I'm in the Netherlands, I catch myself complaining a lot more. And here, they always smile. They don't think about tomorrow. They live in the now, moment of now, which is very, very important.
Yeah.
So that's also, if you have the same energy, the same attitude, it's also better for you as a human being.
Well, we're talking about culture shock. Anytime I go back to the UK now, after spending 18 months in Dubai, my brain can't take it in. I see it a lot. You might be driving through like a high street or a town, and I'm just in the car looking out the window at everyone thinking like, oh, this is weird. Like everyone just looks so hard done by. Everyone looks so sad, and it's, you can feel it. Honestly, you're talking about like subliminally, like you become what you surround. But like when you're not used to it and you drive through, it's just weird. My brain can't. I forget that I lived there, and you just become so normalized to it all. But that's definitely the importance of being in the right surroundings. You mentioned years ago, I think, when you started your ecom journey, maybe you were living with some other guys who were also doing ecom as well. Is that right?
Yeah, no, I was not living with them. I was just hanging out with them. Yeah. But no, and coming back at that point, that you said, like you don't feel at home anymore in the UK. It already starts with when you go from the airport to your car and you turn on your radio. Negativity, war here, war there, inflation. It doesn't matter. There's always negativity. This makes you get sucked up in this matrix very fast. Because I can remember I was in Bali for 8 months. And when I went back to the Netherlands, the first days I was like, where am I? But after the first week, I was already used to it. And I was completely sucked up in the matrix, and I was already having my normal routine in that country. So that's also the dangerous side of it. You get sucked up in it so fast. Yeah. No, but what you were talking about, of course, like if you hang around with other people that have the same mindset, working on the same kind of goals, it's so much easier because you surround yourself with people with the same kind of, how can I say? Attitudes, but it's something more. Did you read the Think and Grow Rich of Napoleon Hill?
Yeah.
He's talking about mastermind, right? Your brains are on the same wavelength. So you don't even have to communicate with each other verbally. If your brain waves are on the same wavelength and you're working on the same goal, it's quite likely that you get more ideas out of it without even talking to each other. I really believe in that stuff because it happened to me.
Yeah. It almost becomes innate. Like, I understand what you're saying. It's just, I guess, a group of people that are like-minded working towards a common goal or on a similar thing. Like you say, you do just feed off each other's energy. Everyone brings something different to the table that contributes to the wider goal. And that's the power of, I guess, working together and collaborating.
That's exactly how we worked. Because I can remember one of my friends, he used to teach me a lot. And then we were sitting all around the kitchen table in my apartment and everybody was doing great numbers. And I said, yo, what's up, man? I see there's something wrong about you. He said, I'm not running the same numbers as you guys. I felt guilty. I was like, this guy taught me so many things. So my mom was helping me finding winning products, scrolling through Facebook. It was still before the iOS when like 1 out of 3 items were a winner and was a winner. And I remember my mom found a product. It was during summer. It was like some extension of your your car seat, so you could put it next to the part of your head, and then you could sleep with your head against it. So when you were sitting in the car, you could put your head against it and sleep. And she found a product. I was like, wow, that's a great product, but I have to give it to my friends. And then he scaled it to like 200K in the first month.
Wow.
And I was so happy. And then I told one of my other friends, I said, yo, listen up. My friend here, he was not doing it well. I gave him this product and he completely crushed it. And he said, that's disappointing, man. I said, what? Disappointing? Yeah, that you didn't scale this product yourself. And I was like, okay, wow. So not everybody is having the same mindset as we do, because that guy who just told me that, he was always doing everything by himself, but we were working as a group.
Yeah.
We were supporting each other, and I couldn't understand how that was the way he was thinking. But yeah, again, like if you work together, getting so much further. Yeah. That's why I invited over my operations manager, my head of operations from India. He just left 2 weeks ago. We worked here for 2 months. We did it last year, but this year we completely crushed it. We were only working together in one room, like pushing it. And when he left, we making more money than we ever did before. Yeah, it works.
I think there's definitely something different about being in person and
100%.
even just like with people, whether or not it's even work based. Like I think we do so much more online now, and it's great. It's a huge convenience, but there is something that's not quite there when you're working remote, and even if you're working on the same goal, there's still somewhat of a disconnect. And I think it comes down to what you're saying about just that energy.
It is.
When you're together
100%.
and you're working on the same thing, you just everything, the motivation level, the energy level, everything. It's just like it almost just compounds when I feel like you're in person.
100% compounds. It's a synergy.
Yeah.
And you don't understand, because it's something way beyond our thoughts, like because we think in very logical things, right? But it's on another level that we don't, if we cannot see it, if we cannot notice it, we will think it's not real. And that's exactly the limit of a lot of people. They don't understand the power of manifestation, because that's not true. I have some friends, they like, I would compare it with like being spiritual. You have like next level of being spiritual, but like a small part of spirituality is in everybody that understands, okay, manifestation can be real. But I have some friends that are like, I don't believe that shit. You know?
Really?
Yeah. A few friends, and it's so hard to convince them. But they have to run into some kind of event where they will realize it does. But yeah, not everybody has the same.
They should read a book called Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Are you familiar with that?
I know Joe Dispenza, but I haven't read this book.
Bro, it's an amazing book, and he talks exactly about that. Not specifically on manifestation, but retraining your subconscious mind to think forwards as opposed to think backwards. Because many people are stuck thinking about the past, and they allow their past to dictate their future. But if you switch that, and like we're saying about manifestation, however you decide to do it with a vision board or a mind movie, like a video, giving affirmations as if you've already done it, you then train your subconscious to think that you've already done it, because your mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is not. So you fool yourself into it happening.
Yeah. That's what I want to talk about later. That's actually what I really thought about a lot.
We could touch on it now because I think we're clearly in agreement on it and how it works, and it sounds like it's something that you do as well.
Yeah. You really have to manipulate your subconsciousness. And sometimes you already do, but you're not even aware of it. So let me go back on how it started for me. I was around 17, 18 years old, and I used to do a lot of martial arts, but then I got an injury during a grappling tournament. I was like, okay, so now I want to do another sport that is less sensitive to injuries. So I started bodybuilding. Natural first. I had quite good genetics. And then at some point I was like, okay, I want to reach this next level physique that I will never achieve without steroids. So I also never lied about it. I had a period of, I think, from my 18th till my 21st that I used a lot of steroids. Crazy lot of steroids.
You have to show me some pictures, because I can imagine you were probably huge, bro. Baby face, but like...
No, bro, I looked like a 40-year-old guy.
No?
As hard as my body blew up, my face also did. I was like a red bowling ball. Yeah, bro, it was crazy. But, bro, I'm only like 180 centimeters.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's 5'11" inches or something like this. Or
we
foot.
say 6 foot. We'll give you 6 foot.
Yeah. But my weight was 110 kilos.
Wow.
I was so big. And actually a lot of people looked up to me. But there was a difference, because they were all, like, we were in a crazy gym where everybody was using gear, but they didn't look like me. So what was the difference? The difference was I already had this picture of myself in my mind, how I wanted to look before I even looked like it. And I was already seeing myself looking like this. So my subconscious mind found a way to get to that point. And aside of that, of course, you also have to grasp the opportunity that you get by training hard and showing the universe that you actually want it. So my family would call me obsessed. I would call myself dedicated. But everything had to move for my goal. So at one point, both my parents were helping me peel my eggs because I would eat like 60 eggs in 4 days, and I would prep my meals 3 days up front. So my dad, my mom, we were like peeling 60 eggs.
No way.
It's crazy. They were at the best parents. They were always very supportive until I started using the steroids, because then they also saw another side of me, because I became super aggressive for no reason, super insecure. For example, when I was talking with a girl, if she didn't reply me for a few minutes, I was like, did I say anything wrong? And you would say, it's weird, right? Because I was so muscular, but no, it gave me a very big insecurity. And in the meantime, I was also doing university. So I was doing the university. I was never attending any class. I was always in the gym training myself. And I still remember till this day. Then I came to one class and I asked the most stupid questions that were already answered because I was never paying attention. I was so bored. And then there was one girl saying, Kevin, you're never going to make it because you ask such stupid questions. In the end, I was the only one of all the 30 that graduated first, with at least half a year delay between it. So what was the difference? I just knew how to lock myself in. A couple of weeks before the exam started, I wouldn't even go to the gym. I would just lock myself in my bedroom from the morning till the late evening and just study this whole fucking book until I knew everything, because I was a perfectionist. I needed to know everything. So the university was very easy.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I built my bodybuilding physique because I really wanted to have a career. But in the end, I understood, when I finished my university, I understood, like, this is not it. This is not it, because for what am I doing this? Bodybuilders don't make a lot of money. They basically sacrifice their physique. They die young. So I instantly quit it. And fortunately, I knew a lot of stuff about it. So my testosterone didn't drop a lot. And then I started doing sales. So, and I finished my university. I started to do sales. And I started working at a office supply company as a salesman. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't really satisfied about this job, and I was also thinking about the future. How is the future going to change? And I was like, okay, I want to go enter another kind of niche, I would say. So I found a new job in IT. And I came there as a salesman without any experience with IT. And they promised me, like, yeah, of course, you will get a car, you will get a phone, you will get a laptop, you will get guided through it, and everybody will teach you will teach you the ins and outs about IT. So I came there, and they stick to some of their promises. I got a car, I got a mobile phone, I got a PC, with no guidance. So I was like, shit, man. They're literally not guiding me how I have to sell this kind of stuff. So what I did, I was just sitting alongside the IT geeks, I would say. But we were also like having a little bit of fun and stuff, and sometimes just fucking around with each other. But in the meantime, I was trying to understand what they told me and to translate it to the people that I was having to sell it to. Because, for example, lawyers or whatever, people that work in finance, administration, they don't know all these expensive IT terms, right?
Running an e-commerce business means facing challenges like shipping delays, high cost of goods, and even payment processor holds. But what if you could simplify your logistics and increase your profit margins? That's where Commercive comes in, our sponsor today. Whether you dropship from China or you're using a USA 3PL, Commercive are confident that they can help you save on costs. With WhatsApp support and a straightforward, easy setup, Commercive ensures that your operations run smoothly. Having served over 3,000 e-commerce sellers, Commercive has gained a reputation for reliable fulfillment, serving the likes of Andrew Tate, who uses Commercive to fulfill his top G merch. Click the link in the video description or visit commercive.co to learn more and get your free quote today.
So I found my way to explain those people what I was actually selling them. But my boss, he didn't see it like this in the beginning. So you know how it works with these companies. Like, you have this evaluation, conversations, meetings, and they're going to say, like, yeah, you know what? we will extend your contract, but we still want you to improve this and that. So unfortunately for this time, we can extend it with 1 year, but we cannot increase your salary. That's always how they play the game, right? Because they don't want to put you on the pedestal too much because they know you're going to ask more money. Well, my boss at that point said, I came in the room, I wasn't even sitting down, and he looked at me like, you only cost me money. That was the first sentence he said. I still remember it till this day. The first sentence he said in our evaluation conversation. But he wanted to extend my contract with 1 year, right? Why would you want to extend a contract with somebody that costs you money? And after that, I was like, okay, it motivated me. I was like, I will show you differently. I will show you who I am right now. And after that, I started getting one assignment after the other. I still remember there was one big outsourcing assignment where a lot of companies attend and they all have to make their offer, present their offer, and then this company will choose between one of those. And they were like, yeah, we have to attend it to show them that we are serious, but we're never going to win it anyway. Give it to Kevin. I was like, okay, let's fucking go. And guess what? I did the presentation, I came in a suit, and I was so convincing that they chose me. And it was an assignment of like 200,000 euros. And the company was like, what? How are we going to roll this out? What happened? And I was like, yeah, what do you expect? You know what this boss told me? Ah, nice. Go buy yourself a cake so you can give everybody a piece of cake. And I was like, so this is how you appreciate me? And then boom, COVID hit. I think it was 2020, like in March. And it became so severe that everybody had to work from home. Till this day, I still remember it. The first day I wake up, I was like, you know, you don't appreciate me, I'm not going to be loyal. Fuck that shit. So I walk in my living room and I take my PlayStation controller. I put on my PlayStation and I stare at my screen. Until this day, I still ask myself, was it my own thought or was it a thought given by the universe/God? I look at my screen and I was like, Kevin, if you want to get out of this shit life, this is not going to get you anywhere. So I turned off my PlayStation and I started dropshipping. The first month, like from scratch, I did like 40K revenue, maybe like not a lot of profit, maybe 2,500 profit. And then the second month, it completely blew up. I did 250K in the second month with 40K net profit. And at that point, I was 25, but I was only making 1.7K net per month with my job. So you can already do the calculation. I was making 2 years' salary in 1 month.
Yeah.
So of course I was not motivated anymore to work for this company. Yeah. But they noticed it. So at one point, everybody could work from home except me. They wanted me to get back to the office 5 days a week. Well, everybody could work from home. And first I was like this dog obeying and saying, okay, I'll come back. And after the second day, I was like, fuck this shit, what am I doing? I'm making so much money. Why am I sitting here 5 days a week? So I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to work from home.
You know, I just want to touch on a few things, if you don't mind, because there's so much there. And as I've been following along, I've just been picking out a few things that I see some kind of similarities. The first time you were kind of told by the other girl in your class, Kevin, you're never going to make it. Like, what, you ask such stupid questions. Then in your workplace, your boss says, Kevin, you just cost us money, you know, and then they've sent you to this sales pitch assuming that you're not going to make it. That's why they've just sent you. And it almost seems like there's common things that are happening over and over again, and yet each time that's when you're doubling down. You're like, you know what, I'm going to show them.
Prove them wrong.
I'm going to show them what's up, and maybe that was a motivating factor for you. And
it's a good one. I didn't even think about it like this.
It almost seems like a repetition. And then the other thing as well is the manifestation that you had when you were very young, getting into bodybuilding. I never even thought about it in the way of changing your own physique through manifestation. I never even looked at it that way, you know, and that's something that's really, really powerful. It takes me back actually to one thing that a friend of mine said. He used to be on the GB Olympics Taekwondo team, and one of his friends or one of his team members was injured at the time. He had, I think, a foot injury, so he wasn't able to train, but he still had a place in a competition. So rather than actually train, he would sit in the gym and watch everyone else drilling, everything that they were doing, and he would just play this over in his mind as if he was the one doing it.
Amazing.
And then he still won, and I don't know what he placed, but he still placed on the scoreboard and won a number of the fights. So there's just, you cannot deny from your story, from other stories, from what I'm saying, that manifestation does not work. And I know you want to talk on that later, so I won't go down it too much, but there was just a few things that I kind of picked out there that I think are really important. I just wanted to add to.
I'm going to think about it after this podcast. I never thought about it like this. Maybe there's like a warrior inside me saying, "I'll prove them wrong, prove them wrong." Yeah, it could be. But to get back at where I left off. And so my manager called me and he said, yeah, why are you not at the office? I said, because I think I'm just going to work at home. I think I already messaged you. Maybe you didn't read my message, but I'm coming back to the office and on Friday. I was like, maybe get back to the office one day. At that point, you want to keep your job as a safety net, right? Because you don't think in abundance, you think in scarcity. What if this business model doesn't work out in the end and I'm losing my job? But I cut ties with that kind of attitude. I was like, no, fuck this shit. I need to get rid of it. I need to get out of here. Imagine how much time and effort I could put into this business if I didn't work for this company. And I was like, no. I said, I'm not coming. If you want to talk to me, you can wait till Friday. What happened on Friday, of course? I go to the office. Yeah, you, Kevin, come with us to the meeting room. And they were sitting there ready with their notes, hat completely red, ready to fire. Best day ever in my life. I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting like this, and I'm telling, gentlemen, before this conversation is going to get very awkward, I immediately resign. Bro, you had to see their faces. Crazy. And then my boss started to say, yeah, but I had to say you were good in this and you were good in that. And I was like, well, thank you for never mentioning this during my service for you, because maybe I would have been loyal, maybe I would have stayed working for you, and I would never had this opportunity that I grasped with both my hands. So I left the company. Until this day, they're still checking my LinkedIn. 5 years later, they're still talking about me probably because they never experienced such a crazy thing like this.
The thing that you said that I really liked is the abundance mindset versus scarcity.
Yeah,
Again, this is something that I had for so long because I worked in a career like a 9 to 5 a lot longer than you did, I think. Well, I did it for 9 years. And so I was so caught up in...
Respect for that, bro.
Too long. Wow. 9 years too long, bro. So
but never too late.
Never too late, exactly, for sure. I am where I am now, and I believe everyone has a certain path that they walk down. Exactly. And, I'm here probably because of that. I had to go through that. But it's the same thing. You feel overworked, underappreciated, and you're almost trained from school, from work, to have this scarcity mindset,
Yeah.
And you're always told what you can and can't do. And it's such a limiting factor to your own growth because nothing actually changed when you decided to turn on that PlayStation, sit there. The only thing that you changed was your mind. You were still the same person. Yeah. You didn't unlock any new skill set. Like, you were still the same guy that you were when you were doing the sales, but yet you were able to channel that energy into something else that you were solely responsible for, something that you had been drawn to, and yet look at how you were rewarded for taking what people would call a risk, right? Yeah. A bet on yourself.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And it's the best bet you can do.
It's funny. There was something Luke Belmar said, and he said something like, risk doesn't exist because I'm confident in my own ability and I only ever bet on myself, or something like that. Something along those lines, and I liked it. But yeah, I mean, what you've done and what you've been able to achieve, even in what you've shared, is fantastic. And I think it's just about taking that first step and realizing sometimes your worth, and I think you prove that time and time again. When people challenge you, you're like, you know what, I'm going to show you. Yeah. And same thing again, when you were left to your own devices at home, you took accountability on that first day when you're turning on the PlayStation to say, you know what, I know I can do more than this. I know I'm better than this. And you changed your life.
Yeah. But there's also a downside to that.
Okay.
Because after that, I became extremely successful in a very short time. But I never had some kind of mentor. Like, my family is, I would say, from the mid-class. And I was quite surpassing that mid-class in a very short time period, in a very short period. So I made a lot of money, and instead of reinvesting it, I started to buy stupid stuff. Started to buy a supercar, not supercar, sports car, like Mercedes GLE AMG, crazy car by the way. And after 1 month, it completely broke down. The engine broke. I bought it from a football player who basically just treated it like trash because he had a lot of money in the first place anyway. And I was just like a kid in the toy store. I want that one, I want that one. Broke down. Then it got repaired. Broke down again. Got repaired, broke down again, like 3 times. The universe was trying to tell me something. And so I wasn't able to drive this car for 15 months. In the 15 months I had this car, I was only able to drive it for 3 months. And the rest of the 12 months, it broke down. And I lost like double the money I paid for it. I lost on the reparations and stuff. But in the meantime, there was an update, iOS update with Facebook. And my mindset was still limited. I thought it was the only thing I could do. But then the ads didn't convert that well anymore. And I was becoming unprofitable and I didn't know how to handle the situation because I was spending my money on all this kind of stupid stuff. In the end, the car was the only asset I had left because I lost all my money. So I had to sell the car because I only had 2K on my bank. I was like, fuck, man. My rent is around 2K. I have to pay the rent in a couple of months, or a couple of weeks. Now I will completely be flat broke. I cannot even live here anymore. That is how rock bottom I went, like from having a lot of money to literally nothing. Fortunately, I sold the car with a lot of loss on it, but I used that money to make the money again. But I got in the same feedback loop. Then I started making money again, getting comfortable again, and losing the money again, and it happened over and over again. So I understood, like, if you don't have any financial education, although you can do a university, doesn't matter. In the real life, it's always different. If you don't have any mentor that's going to tell you how to use your money wisely, you have to get through it one time, like lose your money because you're spending it on stupid stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I ended up losing all my money.
I feel like a lot of people do a similar thing, maybe not to the extreme that you did where it happened multiple times, but I feel like a lot of people don't know how to spend money. I think a lot of the time the problem is people don't even earn enough money to be able to then reuse the money to build more. Because if you think about, investing, if people are going to do anything, they'll do what they think is safest, maybe because of that scarcity mindset. Again, I'm only earning 2K or 3K a month. Maybe I can put some into Bitcoin, maybe I can put some into this. But when you're putting aside $200 a month, $400 a month, sure, it's going to compound, but not like it would if you actually invested back in yourself. And I think that's true. One of the most important things.
But still, if you have a lot of money, but you don't know how to invest, you can still end up broke, like I did.
Yeah.
I was like, iOS update. Then I made some money again. I was like, I want to get out of e-commerce. Like, I want to get out of dropshipping. It's not satisfying anymore. So I put all my money, including my tax money, and all kind of different kind of coins without even having the knowledge.
Bro.
I was like, this is a Floki. Elon Musk, his brother is behind it. Let's put some 10K here, 10K there, 10K here. Yeah. And then it went from 100K, the only 100K I had left, to 5K. So that was even more screwed because I still had to pay my tax money with the money I didn't have anymore.
Easy come, easy go though,
yeah,
right?
That's true. That's true.
If you're not used to it and it's come easy, I think you don't respect it. If you've been in that grind for a while and it's compounded over time, which I guess is probably the nicest way to do it, but it doesn't always work out that way, then at least you get to slowly adjust with time. And I think it comes with age as well. We're the same age, and I'm sure you're very different now, and I have been as well. But I think I stayed this way for so long because I was just so trained in that scarcity mindset, right? I would just save and save and save, and I didn't do the splashing out so much. So I had to train myself the other way. Make sure you reward yourself, because otherwise, what is all this for? I was just so far the other way that it took me so long to get to that point. So it's funny.
You didn't have to face that kind of struggles.
Yeah, for sure. But I didn't have the extreme success that I would say you did. I say extreme. I know there are other people that have done it, but most people struggle to even get their first few sales, let alone go from 40K month one, 250K month two. So it's quite abnormal, that success, which is probably also why you weren't able to control the spending, because
I'm extreme. Extreme is all or nothing. But as you say, like, the older you get, the wiser you get. I would say I would still make mistakes, but different kind of mistakes. Not these kind of mistakes anymore.
You're not putting 10K in a meme coin?
No, I won't. But I still have that wallet. I never touched it, and now it's around 35K again. So I was like, okay, I already take it as a loss, and now maybe it's going to get back up. So now it's looking good again. Still not back at the old level, but at one point I think it will be break even, or not break even, at the same level again. So I think it's fine, but you really need to learn from your mistakes. And the thing is, you'll get in the same feedback loop if you don't learn about it. Because that's the second time I lost all my money. And then the third time was, we were selling a lot of fashion, which I never recommend any dropshipper to start in, but in the first place, because it's very unsatisfying. So a lot of clothing with Klarna. Now, Klarna is for people that like to buy stuff they can't afford. The buyer intent is way different than somebody who pays with credit card. Somebody who pays with credit card is going to think twice before ordering a size. Is my size 43? is my size 44? Do I want black or do I want white shoes? The Klarna kind of guy orders everything. So it's and gonna order black, and gonna order white, and 43, and 44. If you look at the revenue, if you look at the return on ad spend, the ROAS, like, wow, I have 3 ROAS at Klarna. Yeah, but what is your refund rate? Our refund rate eventually increased to like 20 to 30%. And the people also know how to bribe the system. The same with PayPal. They know to open a dispute, and they know if I'm going to complain long enough, if I'm going to say first it's never delivered, if I lose that case, I'm going to say quality is not good. If I lose that case, I'm going to say unauthorized transaction, something like this. I will get my money back. So
I just wanted to say, purchase intent is really important, not just in ecom, but in anything. You know, people will often say as well, if you're doing like a community or mentorship, just stay away from low ticket. It's just a different type of customer. Charging someone $100 a month versus 3K, different customer, a different level of intent, and more often than not, they go further and have more success because the investment on their side is more significant. There was a test, I don't know who did it or how true this is, but I just heard of it. And supposedly these guys did a test. They had a program, a coaching program or something. Again, I don't know the sample size or whatever. Maybe it's made up, but it makes sense to me. They allowed people into the group. They charged the first set of people no money. The next set, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. The people that saw the greatest success were typically the ones who invested the most because they'd put as much, they'd invested more, and therefore they were more dedicated to making it work. And I think it's a similar thing when you're dealing with certain customers in e-commerce as well. The purchase intent and the quality of that person, which is, again, why I always do high ticket. Different people, less returns if the product's actually useful and a decent quality, and you're dealing with a different customer, much less customer support, less returns. Obviously you still get cases now and then, but just a high ticket with everything really is a big difference in most businesses.
And coming back on what you said, like doing the first group of people for free, then increasing the price. Did you read the 48 laws of power?
No.
One law is despise the free lunch. Which basically means that if anything is for free, there's always something behind it. Because what is worth it is also worth paying for. So if somebody's going to offer something free, you always have to think twice. Okay, well, what's his intention? He's not going to give me anything for free. And then aside of that, if you're going to enter any course, always make sure you do your background research, because a lot of people, they will actually learn you e-commerce with Klarna. And they will help you scale your problems. But when the problems arise, they will not be there to solve them for you. They helped you learning e-commerce. The problems are your own. So you have to be very careful with kind of course you...
For sure, aftercare and support is important. I had seen, as we're talking about fashion, someone that I worked with, I helped him with the Google ads on his fashion store. He came through a mentorship program, a very expensive one. And you said the word earlier, it's very unsatisfying. He was religious and he said, I just can't do it anymore. It's hurting my conscience because he was just sending poor quality products to people that were unsatisfied. All he was doing was fighting returns, chargebacks all day long. And rather than address the root cause, he just tried to address reducing the number of chargebacks by using apps and things, still losing the money, still refunding the customer, but just fighting to keep his payment processes open.
And especially if you're religious and you have some kind of manners, I would say, and you want to please your customer, you're never going to make money because you're refunding all of them because you feel sad for them. So you have to be very hard. And I think most Dutch dropshippers are very hard on that. They don't give a fuck. They just do it. They just make the money and disappear. A lot of people are like this. But no, so you have to be very careful on how you want to do business, because it can also go the complete other way, like that happened with me when I was here in 2023. I came to Bali for the first time in November, rented a nice villa, rented a big office, had my operations manager came over, and then boom, we lost everything in a matter of weeks. So we had the same issue with Klarna, and they just froze our account. And we had so many disputes and so many refunds that at one point we were losing 20K a day. So 20K got out of the wallet. Like, my money was getting thinner and thinner.
In refunds and disputes?
Yeah. Until nothing was left, until there was 6 figures in debt. So I was here in Bali, and I was like, okay, nice challenge. How are we going to solve it this time? I slept better than ever. So I was 6 figures in debt, but I slept better than ever because I knew now this small flame is going to be a big blaze again inside of me. And now I'm going to have raw action because I'm totally uncomfortable. And you know, by the time I had so many issues, I got comfortable being uncomfortable. So I was like, okay, I will solve it right now. And with that mindset, you're always going to solve it.
Yeah.
And so what I did, I used I was very good with leveraging debt. I still had the American Express, so I used that debt to start scaling it without Klarna. And when my operations manager left 2 months later, we were doing again 1 million a month in revenue, not in profit.
Crazy, bro.
And we fixed everything. And at that point, I was like, okay. So then we did fashion without Klarna, still thin margins. And then my operations manager came this year again. Okay, we're like, okay, we're going to do two things. We're going to start a real brand and we're going to enter another niche in dropshipping. Yeah, and that's where we didn't have a lot of refunds, and that's where we skyrocketed. And that's why I'm still here right now. I don't want to get rid of this momentum. I want to stick to it. I want to grasp it because I know this is an opportunity given to me by God or the universe, however you want to call it. So that's why I'm still here now, man.
Yeah. Yeah, another challenge. You know what? I think you thrive in the uncomfortable. And I think you put a story on your Instagram yesterday, you know, something you're going to remember it better than me, but you said before you enjoy the weekend, before you enjoy some comforts, make sure you put yourself through a challenge at the end of your day on Friday to achieve something. Yeah. And I think that is so important. It's like reward should not come without challenge. And you only reward yourself once you've done something challenging. If you're always rewarding yourself or doing things that make you feel comfortable, you need to train yourself to seek that discomfort. And I do a similar thing. You're talking about MMA and combat sports. Every Sunday morning in Dubai, I go and do ice bath and sauna therapy. And I'll just do contrast therapy for about an hour.
Wow.
While I'm in there, I put Napoleon Hill on the TV. I'm listening to it. It's in like a private room. Nice. And I'm just in there visualizing, manifesting, sitting in the cold plunge, reaffirming my affirmations and just taking myself to almost like an out-of-body state, just very controlled in my mind. And again, I don't wake up every Sunday and go, I want to do an ice bath. That's why I do it, because I don't want to do it. I challenge myself.
You're doing what you're supposed to do, not what you want to do. That's the very difference between a very successful man and a man that's average.
Yeah.
But let me ask you one question. If you're sitting in that ice bath, can you focus on what Napoleon Hill is saying on the TV?
Yeah, because if anything, it's a distraction. Yeah. Obviously immediate thought, okay, it's cold, you know, let me just focus on my breathing. I can hear the TV in the background, lock into something that he's saying, then I'm visualizing as well. Yeah. So I will just sit there in the sauna and in the cold plunge and I will shut my eyes and I will just be reaffirming my affirmations, the things that I'm working towards, visualizing the things that are in my mind movie, which I got from Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I just treat this almost like a coaching session with Napoleon Hill. For real, bro. Like I just sit there, I take it all in, and all I'm thinking about is where I'm going and moving forward. And I start my day with so much clarity. It's so nice, bro.
It's a talent. You know why I'm asking this? Because when you're sitting in an ice bath, you're going on fight or flight mode, and your body thinks you're going to die. So that's why a lot of people get released or relieved of the stress when they are in an ice bath because they get rid of all their thoughts and the only thing they're thinking about is survival. So they can only think about, I need to survive, and they get rid of all their thoughts. That's why a lot of people think ice baths give them less stress. So that's why I was wondering, like, wow, how are you able to do that? It's a talent, yeah. Or the ice bath is not cold enough.
No, bro, I do 6 degrees.
Oh, fuck.
6 degrees, it's cold.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go in there, because it's early morning, the water's even colder. It's like 3. I'm like, you're going to have to help me out here. Like, you warm that up a little bit, because that's
Did you know, below 7 degrees, every half degree it goes down, the intensity is twice. So it's crazy. I did one time, like with the kind of course, Wim Hof course.
Yes.
Not. It was one of his, students. We did like ice bath of, I think, 1 or 2 degrees.
Wow.
For 2 minutes, bro. No, I couldn't think about anything else than survival, man. Wow, it's crazy.
That's intense. I mean, that's very, very low. I've not done that low. But of course, this is something I've done for week on week. Like I know it's coming. But I agree with you there. Like there's a quote I heard by I think he's an ex-Marine. His name's Nick Bear. He has a supplement company in the US, and I think he has a tattoo on his arm, and it just says "Seek discomfort." And it's just about doing the things that make you feel uncomfortable, because that's where the growth happens. When you're sitting here chilling, playing your PlayStation, whatever you're doing, you're not growing there. You know, well, I guess it depends what game you're playing. Maybe you're picking up on some skills, but you know what I mean. You're
if
not
you're a streamer. If you're a streamer,
all right. There's always unique situations, you know. But more often than not, doing what's comfortable, there's no growth there. We spoke earlier, and I said how I was doing a 24-hour fast every Sunday for many months as well. Why? Discipline. I don't want to do a 24-hour fast, but I do 16 every day. I'm like, why not do 24? Challenge.
And you know what? Even more beautiful, if you can change it from discipline to a habit, because when it's a habit, it doesn't cost you effort at all. So, for example, in the beginning, like doing an ice bath and doing 24-hour fasting, you do it like first you need motivation. Then, when you're surpassed that state of motivation, it's going to be about discipline. Discipline is way stronger than motivation. And the next level after discipline is seeing it as a habit. So it doesn't even bother you at all anymore. It's normal. That's the best state you can be in. And if you can reach that state, you're going to be a monster. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. But in going back at that subject, at rewarding yourself, a lot of these guys who are entrepreneurs, have their beginning state of success, including me, they don't understand about the dopamine reward system. So how does that work? If you're going to reward yourself without any effort up front, you're not going to get any dopamine out of anything anymore, which basically means that if you want to do your normal work, it's going to be harder for you. It's going to be way harder because you already rewarded yourself without any effort in the beginning. So when I went back from Bali last summer to the Netherlands, I only wanted to stay for 1 month. But I was like, I'm not 100% satisfied. That's how I want my business to be. So I ended up staying for 5 months. Like, I can be in that state of discipline that I don't reward myself until I reach the goal. It doesn't matter what happens. Also, what I told you about bodybuilding, when I was at bodybuilding, everything has to move. I will crush any obstacle until I get to that goal. So I stayed there for 5 months, completely boring. And during summer, not doing anything, not going on holiday, not going to festivals, just going to the office and train every fucking day. And then I was like, okay, and now I reached this goal. I wanted to have this kind of revenue. I think it was maybe 50K a day. We reached that goal. Okay, now I'm going to reward myself with a trip back to Bali. Because if I didn't reach my goal, maybe only 50%, 70% of it, and I'm already rewarding myself by going to Bali, how do I expect to reach this goal then? If I already gave myself the reward? So you have to understand yourself in this terms of dopamine rewarding system. And a lot of people don't understand this.
And removing any of that unnecessary easy dopamine as much as possible as well. Social media, playing video games, bad food, and that's why people that want to achieve extreme things live in an extreme way. Contrary to how the average person would live, by removing all of that dopamine. You said it earlier, eating clean, like making sure you eat clean food, because you get out what you put in. And if you're eating clean food, if you're staying disciplined, if you're not drinking coffee like you are, if you're not smoking cigarettes, if you're keeping everything super clean, your body's going to be in the best natural state and help you work towards the goals that you're achieving. So I think that discipline, it's not just coming from work, it's your life. It's how you actually live your life. And I think that translates into business as well. Because you ask most people if they can lock in for 5 months and just focus on a goal. They cannot. To most people, 3 months is way too long. Even 3 months of doing that, they'd be like, no. But then they'll go uni for 4 years. Why? Because you're guaranteed something at the end. And I think that's the difference as well, is a lot of the time when you're investing in yourself, you're not guaranteed anything unless you have that mindset right and you're purely determined. But unfortunately, most people don't, because again, mindset is like a muscle. You have to train it. It is a muscle. We're speaking from... It sounds like you started when you were 18 in bodybuilding, so you got 12 years of experience. I wouldn't say I had this mindset always. It's grown over time, and I guess it's just like all these things, man. You have to just keep working on it to get to where you want to go. But to someone that's maybe so far on the other end and they're stuck in working a job they don't like, or they're in a similar situation to you where they've got a boss who doesn't appreciate them, where they're not earning much money, they don't know how to make money, they have the wrong mindset. It's almost like it works both ways, right? It can compound in the wrong direction as well, to where you feel so far that way, it's very difficult to get yourself out. But that is the power of just being surrounded by the right people. Like, I invited my brother over to Dubai to spend a week with me to help him build an ecom store. He left so fired up. We were chatting every day. We were spending a lot of time together, which is nice as well. And he was just like, oh man, I'm just so much like it's different. He left a different person. Just his energy, the way he's talking, just with 1 week, And I think that's the importance of trying to get into the right circles, or, you know, just trying to confide in the right people, you know, people who have done what you want to do, whether that be a coach or a mentor or even just a friend, because sometimes just a simple conversation or spending time with that person can start to retrain the way that you think.
That's what I'm trying to do with my best friend right now. He just opened his first store and got 2 sales 2 days ago.
Amazing.
He's like, I'm so happy. I said, yeah, I'm happy for you too. But he always has a mindset saying me, I hope so. I said, bro, if you're going to work with me, I would never want to hear you saying, I hope so again. Because hope is the equivalent of despair. Hope is for people that wish for a miracle. Hope means that you feel like, okay, I'm not able to put in the work myself, but maybe a miracle happens. Maybe I'll win the lottery, like my family. They always buy the lottery tickets that they never win. Maybe they win a bar of chocolate or a bike, but they never win the prize. And they still hope. No. For me, honestly, winning the lottery would be the worst ever, because what kind of effort are you going to still put in to make the money, right? Oh. How are people going to look at you? Yeah. Because you already won the lottery, you will lose respect. But anyway, and I told them, get rid of this mindset. Don't talk about hope. And then said, yeah, I will try to. No. Don't say I will try to. Tell me you're going to. I was like, okay, I'm going to make my first sale then. I'm going to open a store. So it's for him it's hard because he's the same age as me and he has always been in this rat race, right? But I'm telling him, bro, if you're 100% comfortable, you're gonna get out of this shit. Yeah. And I'm here to guide you. I will tell you everything you shouldn't do, what I did before, and it's gonna happen. Yeah. Get ready for it. Get ready to go walk into the office and say, I resign. Get ready for it. Think about this moment and you will see it will happen. So yeah, that's the power of manifestation.
For sure, bro. There's the words that you speak matter. And there's another guy from the US called Jesse Itzler. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he invited David Goggins to live with him in his house for like a month years ago. And he wrote a book on it. It's called Living with a Seal. Yeah. It's a really, really good book. But anyway, not to go down a rabbit hole, he says the words that you speak matter. And another thing he says is like never give your pain a voice. You know, if you vocalize these things, if you say them out loud, they become real. Yeah. And I'd say, you know,
it's even in the Bible. You know that. Beware of the power of the tongue. What you say can be real, especially in Bali. That's even
there's
crazy,
so much wisdom in the Bible, in the Quran. There's so many life lessons that can be learned. And where I was going with that is. He gives a good example. There's a few examples. He said he used to walk into his office every day. This was when he was like sofa surfing, living on his friends' couches in New York. He would walk into his office every day and he'd say to his business partner, we're millionaires, they just haven't paid us yet. Yeah, and he went on to build a company called Marquis Jets, which is a private jet company. And he had no funding, he got investment, all of this stuff. It's crazy. But another thing as well, another example is a teacher told him that they thought his son was dyslexic. And he said, are you telling me that he hasn't quite grasped the concept, but he's working as hard as he can? He said, we do not say those words because the words that you speak matter. And even to that degree, it's just so powerful because imagine that. Imagine you've got a young child who's being told you're dyslexic. You're giving them something to blame. Yes. You know, and I understand everyone's different, but to give these things label, you have ADHD, you have dyslexia, you have anxiety, you have depression. You give it so much power when you say that. Yes. And you can always retrain your mind. I say always, in my experience, okay? I've not suffered from these things, but I just think the way that you treat it can be so different without putting a label on it. You know?
It grows if you give it attention.
Exactly.
That's why I'm going to tell my future kids they're champions. Yeah. They can conquer the world. They can do anything they want. And you will see if you program it like this from young age, they will become champions. Yeah. But it really works like this. But and for example, we already discussed this book, Napoleon Hill. He had a son who didn't have a hearing organ. Yes. But he was still able to let him hear things. How's that possible? You can tell me.
This is what I mean. How many more examples of this do you need to see to believe it's real? Yeah. You know, and for sure, you know, you need to change the I try, I hope to I will, I have, you know, and that's the same way that I have it with my affirmations. I've already achieved all the things that I'm doing. Yeah. It's not a case of when, it's if. Wrong way around. It's not a case of if, it's when. Yeah. You know, I truly believe these things are going to happen. And then to actually get there though, because I think it's important that we note this as well for people that are listening is you have to then work backwards from the goal. Like you said, just manifesting it is one thing, but then you have to do the preparation. You have to peel the eggs. You have to cook all the food if you're doing bodybuilding. So when you have your goals set and you have clarity on what you want to achieve, it's actually very simple to work backwards from them. Because normally it just comes down to the task that you need to complete to get to that goal. And if you can think of the wider goals that you need to achieve to get to the bigger goal, then you work down from there. Right?
Reverse engineering.
Exactly. That's the best way to say it. Reverse engineering. And then as you're working your way down, you then have complete clarity on what I need to do each day. And even to the point of managing your time. Does this work towards the wider goal? There's like 4 Ds. Do, defer, delegate, delete. And if you're organizing your tasks in that manner and you know what you need to do to actually move the needle to get towards the goals that you're working towards, it's inevitable. You, like you said, you know it's going to happen. I know I'm going to achieve my goals because I'm doing all the things that are going to get me there. It's so powerful.
It's true. And there's even more to that, because let me ask you a question. I would like you to not think about the purple elephant. Where do you think about?
The purple elephant.
Exactly. So if you're going to say, instead of, I want to be rich, I don't want to be poor, I want to have a healthy relationship, or I don't want to be cheated on, I want to be healthy, or I don't want to be sick. So if you say, I don't want to be sick, to a certain extent, your brain is still going to think there will be a way you can be. So you can be sick, or there will still be a moment that you can go broke again, or that you can be cheated on. So then you're still manifesting this. You're still affirming with a thing that you don't want. But if you completely reverse it and say, instead of saying, I don't want to be poor, I'm going to be rich, then you completely eliminate the subject of getting broke in the first place, and it will never happen. And a lot of people, they want to be successful, but still think in ways of fear. So saying like, I wish not to be poor again ever in my life. For example, me, I lost my money 3 times. Do you think I'm going to say now, I don't want to be poor again? No, I want to be filthy, dirty rich. I'm going to be filthy, dirty rich. It's a fact. The question is, when is it going to manifest it? So it's funny because everybody is conditioned, right? Everybody is conditioned. And it can be based on religion, it can be based on culture, it can be based on past traumas, but it can also be based on past family traumas. And for example, my family really thinks in ways of fear. So if you're going to think in ways of fear, it's quite unlikely that you're going to manifest anything that's beyond that fear. So you need to reprogram yourself, which is very doable, because our brain is very remarkable, because it has the ability, which is called neuroplasticity, which means the ability to rewire and reprogram itself from a bad habit to a great habit, because our conditioning is based on a bunch of habits, and a habit is an idea that manifests itself in the subconscious mind. So what do we need to do? We need to reprogram the subconscious mind. And that starts with the way you talk, the way you walk, I would say, like be more confident. But what also happens is writing it down. What I used to do when I was like rock bottom, I would write down that I was grateful for the things that I didn't even have yet. So I would literally write down, I'm happy that I have this life now where I'm a multi-millionaire with my wife and my kids living in this kind of villa. And it started manifesting itself. Like at that point, suddenly I had a girlfriend. She came walking from somewhere I didn't even know she could come from. Like it just happened, and all these things happened, and I was making more money again. But you have to keep this confidence. It's very hard, because if you're in an environment, for example, in the UK or in the Netherlands, where everybody around you has these kind of habits to be negative, it's quite likely you get influenced by it yourself as well. So you need to train yourself. So what I do, I pray 2 times a day for gratitude. So the morning I wake up, I speak out loud that I thank God or the universe for giving me the things that I not literally have, but acting less as if I already have them. And I do this when I wake up, and I do this when I go to bed.
Before you said that, I was waiting for you to finish speaking to say that's what I do. That's how I manifest. I express my gratitude every single morning with prayer. Every single morning. and I speak it out loud. I'll finish my prayer and then I'll express my gratitude, even if it's something simple. To be in Bali, to spend this time with my fiance now, to be going to a podcast later, to meet someone that I want to meet, to then have a great day. I'm grateful before the day's even started.
Yeah.
And even if it's like future planning, you know, I'll even say to God, I know you wouldn't I know you wouldn't have given me this vision if I wasn't meant to achieve it. This is something that I reaffirm myself when I'm in that ice bath, when I'm in the sauna, every single day when I'm praying. After I express my gratitude, again, just dropping in those things that I'm working towards. So every day, I know a lot of people talk about, you said it yourself, writing down their goals and journaling. I do that with prayer. I do it out loud, you know, and you do the same. Crazy the synergy in our routines, I would say, but it's, you know,
it's not coincidence.
No, it's not.
Also law of attraction.
Yeah,
it seems that we had to like meet each other here and come and sit here and talk about it. Yeah, that's also how it works. A law of attraction.
Yeah,
Conor McGregor says it's real. Dana White says it's real, and a lot of other people say it's real.
Yeah.
But only real when you really believe in it. So yeah, what I would like, because I also know there are a lot of young men like listening to this podcast are like, why doesn't it work for me? I'm telling myself every day I'm going to be a millionaire. No, it doesn't work like this. So if you start from the beginning and you want to manifest, first of all, you're gonna ask for it, yeah? Because God will give you anything you want. So for example, you're feeling uncomfortable. You're like, I'm single for such a long time. You know, I wish I would have a nice girlfriend. The next day, you're sitting in a restaurant or in the gym, and boom, there's a beautiful girl looking at you, smiling at you. But you're gonna come up with all these and I know a lot of men do this. They come up with all these kind of excuses, like, but maybe she already has a boyfriend, but maybe she doesn't really like me, or maybe she is a psycho. And they are building up the excuses, and in the end, they didn't talk to this girl. That was a chance given to you by God, but you didn't grasp it because you were a bitch. You were a pussy, not able to show yourself accountability and show your balls and go approach this girl. Because I will tell you, 9 out of 10 times, if you make a good move, you know what to talk about. In the end, you will get away with something, maybe Instagram or a number. And in the end, maybe they don't want to talk with you, or maybe they will just tell you from the beginning they already have a boyfriend. But you still feel like you're a winner because you showed yourself that you had the balls, you showed yourself accountability to do so. Now, this is a very common example that I wanted to mention because I know a lot of guys have this kind of issue. They like, and then after that, they're like, yeah, what was, maybe she tagged herself on the page of the gym. Let's see if I can find her through the followers of the gym. No, it's not going to work like this.
Yeah, it's so true. And it comes back to what we're saying about seeking discomfort.
Yeah.
They don't want to do it because it could be potentially uncomfortable.
Yeah. Imagine she rejects you. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you cannot sleep then.
Move on with your day.
Who cares?
It's been many years since I've approached a woman, so I'm out the game too long, but I can remember what it would feel like. And what? Do you know what I mean? You just need to take that risk, otherwise you're never going to get what you're working towards.
And it's the same with business.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Yeah.
There's one thing I wanted to say though. It is the same with business. So why do you think there's many high-level businessmen who are maybe very successful in their job but have no success with women?
It's because what I heard is because they're very, very perfectionist, and they want to have this perfect woman that suits all their needs, but that doesn't exist. You know, and at some point you're gonna be so perfectionist that you're going to disqualify any woman you see. So you would say like, okay, yeah, but she doesn't have this kind of quality, or she doesn't have that kind of quality. But in the end, you will never find out because you will still build up these excuses to never approach these women. So it's all about excuses, about excuses, and no accountability.
Yeah.
And it's also a different kind of thing. Like, I mean, starting a business from home, locking yourself in is still way more comfortable than going out and talking to a woman you don't know anything about, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But at least but you'd think the discipline and the mindset required to build something from scratch would also translate into being able to do something that makes you feel uncomfortable, such as approaching a woman. But it doesn't seem to directly correlate in that instance. I guess the difference is you can build a business without having social skills or social awareness, I guess.
Well, I will tell you one difference in that kind of subject regarding business. The people who have the highest educations are quite likely the ones that never start a business, because they were trained in a way to make everything so complex that they never start in the first place. if you see all these Gen Z kind of dropshippers, they are all dropouts. They don't care. They don't care about a bachelor degree or a master degree because they don't think that much. They just do it. They grasp the chances they get.
Yeah.
Whereas a guy who has studied all his life is basically ready to enter the matrix, maybe have a nice salary of 5-6K a month, but sticks with that and works in a way that he is taught to work, he will never think outside of the box. And the longer you study, the harder this condition, these habits get.
Do you know what's funny is this is what I was saying to you, where I was in that for 9 years because I left school at 16, got an apprenticeship, became a plumber, qualified at 20 years old, where I could probably earn half decent money in London as a plumber. You get good salary, maybe £200 per day, not bad for 20 years old. But instead of doing that, after I completed the apprenticeship, I was like, okay, what's next? Like, I've done this, but I always like to be working towards something. I was like, I don't want to just do this now. Like, where do I go now? You know, I need to work towards something. And then someone said to me, you know, with construction, you can only work as long as you're worth. Maybe you should try and get into engineering. So I applied, got a job in engineering. They put me through university. I was working full time. I did all of this, completed that, and then COVID hit, and I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to do this either. Got into dropshipping.
So also during COVID?
During COVID.
Nice, man.
But it took me so long to get to that point, and you're talking about being trained by the system, trained by the matrix. I went from school to an apprenticeship to university. I was always in some kind of training. And the thing is as well, when you're in that situation, is everyone else has the same mindset. No one wants to be there. They're turning up to college. They've got to do it for 4 years. They just want the bit of paper. Even at work, they're working because they have to do the job. I don't think many people that do construction truly enjoy it. I'm not to speak to everyone, for everyone, but I think a lot of people don't truly enjoy it. I would be on construction sites speaking with the guys.
Depends how you program your mindset. If you love money, and therefore you love to do your job because you know you're going to make a lot of money, it's quite easier. Because you know in the end you're going to make money. But if the money is not a big deal to you, for example, these construction workers in Bali here who make 3 million a month, which is $180 for working a month, and they take their whole family, of course it's a different kind of motivation. You know,
that's true.
It's for them it's survival, and for the other one it's just because they like the money.
That's very true.
There's some way in between, but yeah, it also depends on how you program your mindset.
Yeah, I guess I should take a step back and just share from my own perspective, because I would be on construction sites in London, and the guys I would work with, we would always say, there's got to be something better than this. You know, we're outside in a freezing cold in winter. In summer, we're in a loft hatch covered in ceiling insulation. It's just, there was no kind of happy medium. Of course, we had a laugh, we had a good time, and we made it fun. Again, coming down to the importance of being around the right people. But I just remember they would always say, there's got to be something better than this. And what's funny about all of this, and I thank my parents a lot for so many of the things that they taught me, from a young age, they always had businesses, and they always told me, you'll never make money working for someone else.
That's good.
From a very young age. And even still, I ended up doing the plumbing qualification. Then I wanted to maybe start my own business, but somehow ended up in engineering. And I always have this thing where I don't like to half do things. If I'm doing it, I'm going to finish it. I'm going to complete it. I made that decision. I'm going to see it through till the end, which maybe is good or bad. I do not know. But then when I finally finished, got that qualification, I was like, no, this just isn't it. I've got the paper, but this isn't it. So I'm grateful for the things that they told me and were very supportive. They always said as well, like, look, you live at home. Now's the time to take risk. Like, if anything happens, you're here, you have a house, you have food, you know, do the thing. So
how come you were still this conditioned and still waited so long to enter entrepreneurship? Although you had your parents saying you will never get rich if you stay working at this kind of construction work.
I don't know, brother. I don't know how it worked out the way it did.
Was your environment, was it the kind of friends you were hanging out with?
I don't think so. I think because in my mind I was still working towards something, and the thought process was, this makes sense for me right now. I've committed a year, 2 years, 3 years to this apprenticeship. I'm going to see it through till the end. And then, like I said, as soon as I'm finished, I'm thinking, well, what's the next thing? How can I leverage what I've learned and take what I consider to be a step up? And I guess I just found myself taking the advice from those around me. Like I said, the guy said to me, you can only work as long as you're worth in construction. You know, why don't you consider engineering? So given that he was my superior in a way, I listened to his guidance and then I was excited. I landed a new job. Okay, cool. But then I realized it wasn't what it was made out to be. And I guess I never had that, not to say I never had the confidence, but I was just stuck in that scarcity mindset, you know. Oh no, I need to finish this. I need to get my degree, and then I'll get good money. You always dangled the carrot in these types of businesses, like you was, and I just don't think I saw through it enough.
I mean, to a certain extent, it's good that you have this mindset that you think like you need to finish one first before you start another, because I also know a lot of people who start like 5 projects at the same time and never finish one single project. But at the other hand, you also need to understand when to let go.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to work on something that's never going to be worth it in the end, just for the sake of finishing it, you'll also waste a lot of time.
That's like they say, you know, what I was getting back to earlier, when you pivoted and got into dropshipping, you were the same person, but there's a saying that a guy on the podcast said to me called Adam Power. He said, you know, the right entrepreneur in the wrong vehicle will never get ahead. And if you're the same person, but you're just in a different situation, like I had
the same with my fashion business. Complete the wrong vehicle. I was able to make it successful in terms of revenue, but never in profit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to do this until I'm profitable, but it never worked out in the end. So yeah, it's true.
For sure. So yeah, I don't know. I think I just had scarcity mindset, done the same thing for so long that you just fall into routine, was working towards getting the piece of paper at the end. And I guess I just got caught up in that. But yeah, knowing when to pivot is super important, as you've done during your journey, and what I finally did in the end at 25 years old. Like you say, better late than never.
Yeah, well, me too. I also started at 25. Yeah.
You know? So maybe we could talk a little bit more about your businesses at the moment. You don't need to disclose the niche or the product, but you did you say you had your ops manager come out here again?
Yeah.
And you've just done some interesting things as well. So like, when he comes out, when you're working together, like what does that look like? What's your routine, and what's the goal that you were working towards?
Well, we wrote down some goals on the board that we want to have by the end of July. We're not yet there yet, but we are going to I think this weekend it will happen. But
I think no, bro, come on.
You're completely right. It will happen. Let's say it like this. Yeah. You see, even sometimes I'm still programmed with this old mindset. I think it will happen.
Me too. And I pick myself up on it. Sometimes I say it and I go, no, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. It will happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But you see, still, you have to train yourself all the time, because sometimes you always feel like, oh fuck. I even do it to my missus. She might say a certain thing. I'm like, don't say that. Don't say that like that. You know. Even when she was looking for a job, she's like, I'm never going to find. I don't have the qualifications. If you say that, you won't. I'm like, don't say that. You will get one. Trust me, you will get one. Yeah.
You know. And she did.
It's completely true.
So
thank you for correcting me there. You see, I still need to train myself.
We all do. I say it sometimes as well, bro.
No, but we're going to make it happen. But yeah, the thing is, like, if you're working towards a goal with one guy not one guy, but 2 guys in one room with the same mindset, the same goals, the same discipline, it's going to be so much easier. Because also Andrew Tate, why do you think he always lives with his brothers and his friends?
Yeah.
He literally said, like, because if I don't want to get up at 5, but Tristan is up at 5, I also need to get up at 5. Otherwise I look like a bitch.
Yeah.
And I also work with me and my operations manager. But he's extreme beast, because he doesn't go to the gym, he doesn't train. And if I don't tell him to relax a little bit, he's almost living in the office. So yeah, and it happened last year, and I was like, okay, we're going to make this an annual thing. We're going to do this every year. So we did it now, and I think we doubled our revenue, and I think we tripled our profit. Only because we chose to change our vehicle. So what I want to say by that, I already said, like, if you're going to do 5 things at the same time, you will never finish any of them.
This time last year, I was living with my parents at age 27. Today, I live in my dream home in Dubai. If I knew then what I know now, I could have achieved this in 6 months instead of 3 years. Within my Google Ads Ecom Academy, you can learn how to scale e-commerce businesses with Google Ads. These strategies helped me work with known ecom brands like CheeseGeek, as seen on Dragon's Den and invested in by Stephen Bartlett. I also scaled my brother's business, Trope Official, to 1.1 million in sales in 12 months, as well as many, many more. The Google Ads Ecom Academy is designed for all levels, beginners, intermediates, and experts who want to learn how to successfully scale e-commerce businesses. If you want to win with Google Ads, see the video description for more details. All right, now back to the podcast.
So, what I see with a lot of dropshippers, they always have the golden object syndrome. So they would see, like, but this guy is doing this. Let's do this. And they will try. And while they are trying, they see another guy doing that. And they are going to try to do the same as that guy. So they shift from one thing to another thing, and in the end they will never finish it. I know some people in my network who have the same issue. They start there and then they start there, and in the end they end up totally being unsatisfied, not managing their goals because they go from left to right. So what I told my operations manager when he came, okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of most of our fashion stores. We're just going to close them or we're going to sell them. So we did. We went from, I think, 30 fashion stores.
Wow, 30 stores?
With Google, yes. Yeah. That's the thing I worked on the 5 months when I went back to the
You do Google
Netherlands.
as well?
I was doing solely Google.
Amazing, bro.
Yeah. So
I don't meet anyone that comes on this podcast that does Google. Like, I have a couple of people, but because that's all I do, it's always a surprise.
Yeah.
There you go. Most people in ecom are like 90% better, so that's cool.
Yeah. Now we reverted that. We're back to Meta. But no, I had 30 Google Merchant Centers.
Wow.
And that's the thing I was working on the 5 months, but they were not making me any profit. They were only making me losses. So we sold all of them, and it's hard because you're still in that scarce mindset of thinking this is the only thing I can do. But sometimes you have to burn the ships. You have to burn the ships. Yeah. And so we did. Of course, we still have some stores that were just up and running, and it's all autopilot. And we're starting on a new project, and that project didn't fire off in the beginning. We were like, but we're gonna make it successful, and that's literally what we did. And now we're having crazy profit, like profit we've never seen before. Yeah. But still not satisfying enough.
I have a question and I want to word it in the right way because it's something I've been thinking about recently. I even spoke to my mum about it. When you're working on your businesses, you're locking in for 5 months, you're doing these things that to others would seem extreme. You said the word obsessed earlier, but the word you said was dedicated, I think. You know, I often think of myself as the same way. And this holiday here with my missus was something that I wanted to do for a moment, to just take a step back. And it's something that I've never really properly done. It's just like, okay, I'm just going to work really hard and then I'm just going to chill for 1 month. I'm going to make sure everything maintains. I'm going to do a bit of work when I need to, but I'm just going to try and kind of coast through and see what happens.
But it doesn't make you feel comfortable.
No.
Because when we were talking on Instagram, you also mentioned this, like,
this is what I want to say.
I'm here in Bali, but I don't feel 100% comfortable because I took a step back, but it was intentionally. I was like, this guy's the same as me.
But this is what I want to say.
Yeah, it's not going to work like this.
I feel most fulfilled in myself when I'm working on something. And then the other thing I was reflecting on was this. Coming to Bali was a dream for me. When I was 25, before I just got into dropshipping, I was like watching all these vlogs, like, oh man, I'd love to go there. And like, I was watching these videos on how much it cost in your rent and this, and I'm like doing the maths and thinking, can I ever move there? And for me, this was something that I was really working towards for a long time. But what I found recently is sometimes the excitement of doing something, the thought of doing something and the excitement that brings of working towards something is often greater than actually being there and doing it itself. Like I say, when I first got here, I was a bit shocked and I was like, oh, this isn't quite how I imagined it. And it's not quite how you made it out to be. Same with buying this watch. I had it saved on my Instagram photos for like 2 years. It was on my vision board. Then I got it and I was like, I don't know.
I have the exact same.
I don't know.
The way to it is more satisfying than the end point.
But then there's one more thing I want to add in, and it's like I'm here in Bali. I'm with my fiance now. My businesses are still running. I'm still making money. I'm doing sales calls now and then. I'm closing people. Everything is perfect, you know. And yet I still feel more fulfilled when I'm doing something. And what I found strange was the other thing as well is the other thing that brings me enjoyment is not just work, but also socializing, seeing friends and family, doing things like this.
There's
something as simple as playing paddle with my friends. I was so uplifted after we were chatting. It was so fun, you know, and that's the other side. So it's like I actually realize I feel most fulfilled when just spending time with friends and family, people that I care about, or interactions like this where we share a lot of similarities, and working on my business. But like the holidays, this stuff, buying the things, I don't consider myself to be very materialistic. And even when I do it, I'm like,
There's dissatisfaction.
This isn't what it's all about.
So let me explain you. That's exactly why I do the same things. My business is doing well and all this stuff, and I know I can grow it, but I need to have some hardship. That's why I decided to step in the MMA cage next year and go and do a fight. I don't need to do this. I'm making a great amount of money. I'm not going to make money with fighting in the cage, and it's also not going to improve my health. but I'm still gonna do it. Why? Because I want to do it. And we men are not designed to be happy.
Yeah.
We men are designed to suffer. We men are designed to provide. You know what makes, I don't care about feeling happy myself. You know what makes me feel happy? When the people that I'm surrounded by, like my family and friends, that they are happy.
Yeah.
It's my job to make them happy. That's when I feel happy. So and of course there's a difference, because a lot of men, especially in this generation where the testosterone is lower than ever, are a bitch. But the thing is, for a man, your life should be a conquest for greatness. Alexander the Great. Okay, maybe not the best example, but Adolf Hitler. Napoleon, all these kind of heroes. Do you think they were like, okay, now I conquered this land and now I'm finished, now I'm gonna chill? No, it was never enough. Never enough. That maybe was also their downfall. They would always want to conquer more land and get more power. And I think you and I have the same. And I also discussed this with another friend of mine who was also a very successful entrepreneur. Comfort never gives you this satisfaction.
No.
Never gives you the satisfaction. Being uncomfortable and being in extremely hard situations, uncomfortable situations, and getting your way out of that, that's what makes you comfortable. But then the point comes, okay, when you get your way out of it, what's it then? Yeah. There's still discomfort. So I think it's going to be an eternal issue for men that are programmed like this to be a conqueror, that there always has to be hardship. That's why I decided to step in the cage. It's completely stupid maybe, because it doesn't benefit me anyway, but I just want to do it.
Yeah. My where I came to was I just feel very ready to have children now. Because I feel like I want to have somewhere else to put this energy into as well, and to it's another challenge, and it's something that I feel desire to do, raise children the way I feel they should be raised, and to pass on these morals. Like you said, your child's going to be a champion because you've decided he's going to be a champion. You're going to tell him, well, maybe her as well. Maybe champion's not the best word for a woman, but we're going to find a way. And I think this is what I realized by being here, being away from home, still FaceTiming my mum. They're not here. They're not on this holiday with me. They're back in the UK. I'm not even sure they want to be there. And this is one of the biggest things on my Mind movie that I watch every day. One of them is my family are sat around the table in my Dubai home, smiling, proud, and taken care of. This is my goal for the next year, or whenever it's ready to happen, is to get a big villa in Dubai. I'm going to own it. I'm going to have all my family sitting there, long table. Everyone's going to come and stay any time that they want, and I want them to have a home here whenever they want it. This is, for me, this is what I'm working towards, that and starting my own family as well. This is what motivates me.
That's why I think the subject of a man should not be happiness, but being proud.
Yeah.
I don't care about being happy. I want to be proud. How can I be proud? To make sure that I will be remembered as a man who provided for his family. Not as a man who was super successful and had a lot of money. And nobody's going to care about how much money you had. People are going to care about who you were as a person. And I think that's the most important thing, because I think the most common narrative is you need to be successful and the whole world has to see it, and when you're successful you can spend all your money on these kind of things and have private jets and boats and blah blah blah. But I think that is not the correct narrative. The correct narrative is you should make so much money that you can provide for your whole family, and at least 5 generations can still profit from it. That's my main goal.
Yeah. I've ended up at the same place as well. It's funny, at first it was about me. When I had no money, I want to get a nice car and I want to get this, and so I was so focused on building something for me. Then I met my girlfriend and now fiance, over 3 years ago, and then I was like, okay, now it's about us and the family we're going to build together. And I always told her from early days we will get married one day, and it's, on the holiday I kind of made that happen, at least got engaged. So again, I already had all of these plans of everything that would happen, and then we relocated to Dubai. We live well. We live, or I would say, is comfortably. Sure, there's always many people in Dubai that are levels and levels above me, but that's why I like it, because it's uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable environment.
You always feel like a brokie, no matter how much money you make.
Always feel like a brokie, for sure. But then when we had that, and I'm like, okay, we can get the watch now, and we can do the holiday, and we can get the car. Next, it's like, okay, now I'm here, but my family are all back in Dubai. Back in the UK. And because we have a 2-bed apartment, they can only come out in 1s and 2s, and they stay with us and we spend the whole week with them. Now I want everyone to come. This is the next goal. So it's the same. It's the same as you. It started being about me, and then you achieve the things you want to achieve, and you're like, that's not about me. Actually, it's bigger than that. That's the next level. And then you're like, actually, it's bigger than that. And you want to provide for the whole family, you know. And I think that's just something that's built in, you know.
That's the principles of a real man.
Yeah.
I think society brainwashed all the men. Society now says, you can be soft as a man. It's okay when you talk about your problems and you feel sorry. It's okay, here, take a pill. And if you take the pill, you would completely forget about your miserable life. And it's okay. You don't have to work. You know what? You can tell your boss you're not able to work, and they will still pay you, because that's how it works in our country. If you're not capable to work, they cannot fire you, but they still have to pay you. And if you have some kind of mental challenges, I think if you have this as a man, you're just a bitch. I'm sorry to say it, you're just a bitch, man.
Have you heard the saying? I think you have hard times create hard men create easy times create soft men, and soft men create hard times.
Yeah,
it's very true, bro.
I've been through this cycle many times. Yeah, like difficult times created me as a very strong man, and then I became a very strong man. But the comfort created very difficult times, and then I became a soft man again. And yeah, I know the cycle. Yeah, it's completely true.
For sure.
But bro, people don't even go through the cycle. They always stay a soft man for all their lives, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, not everybody is built for this, but I think to a certain extent, everybody should go through this hardship. But as I already said, society is brainwashing these people. It's fucking brainwashing. It's crazy.
It's because low testosterone is easy to control.
It's easy to control because they don't have anything to stick up with for themselves. I know, maybe it's just me, but I always had an issue with authority. I remember my first job as a salesman, and the guy says, I want you to do this. I'm like, motherfucker, if I don't want to do this, I can just walk out here and go home. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. Okay, maybe I lose my job, but you can tell me you want to, but I don't know. I always felt this gut feeling like, oh, you're not going to tell me what I need to do. Of course, you can say it differently. I would like you to do this and that, but I don't know. I always had an issue with authority, but most of these men just obey.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think I had to learn it over time. I think I was, like I say, so far the other way. Worked in jobs for so long, college, school, university, all of which are designed to just tell you what to do, how to do it, when to do it by. It really took me time to get to that point, and I think starting your own business for me, it was just the way to do it. And now the freedom that comes with it and the ability to do what you want, when you want, and how you want to do it, it's life-changing.
Yeah, but still, like, I mean, you can still be a man who takes responsibility and still have a 9 to 5. There's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5 job. If that's completely satisfying for you and you can provide for your family and you can pay your bills and your family's happy, there's not a lot of difference between them and us. Maybe they're even happier. I can guarantee you they're happier than us, because we always want more and more.
Yeah.
And actually, if there were not people like this, then you and I would never be able to run a business.
Yeah.
Imagine everybody in the world being like us.
It wouldn't work. But I just want to clarify, I wasn't necessarily saying that there's anything wrong with that. All I was saying
I didn't say you said so.
The authority, the authority thing for me.
Yeah.
I think it took me a very long time to be able to be the confidence to turn into the person that I am, to then speak out against things that I dislike.
Yeah.
Because previous to that, I always just had that scarcity mindset. I'm just going to do what they told me to do, because that's what I'd been taught in school, in college, in university.
That's how everybody's programmed. Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But it seems like it came naturally to you. But it's interesting to know that you can, if I'm reflecting on myself, like we're saying about mindset and changing, you can always find a way to change the way that you are. It just takes reps.
It is. That's why you need to train your brain. As I already said, there's neuroplasticity. Your brain has the remarkable tool to reprogram itself. But it starts with you. And then if you reprogrammed yourself, how are you going to grasp the opportunities that God gives you? As I already said, there's a beautiful girl sitting there. You didn't talk to her because you were a bitch. You know, it really happens. It happens so many times. And then you feel like, why didn't I do it? It's the same with business. It's the same with training. It's with everything. But yeah, I guess not everybody's like you and me.
I guess not. But it's always a blessing to meet people like yourself, bro. Like, and I think that's the beauty of this podcast, although it's kind of e-commerce focused. Everyone shares similar trials and tribulations. Everyone's been through similar challenges, and it's just proof that discomfort of overcoming these things ends up making a lot of people become similar men. Of course, there are always still differences. We all operate businesses in different ways, have different thoughts about things, different etiquette, but the core principles, a lot of the time, the fundamentals are similar, and it's always from doing difficult things. A lot of the people that I speak to on a podcast like yourself, or the ones that have achieved like extreme success, have lost everything more than once. You know, it's just that relentlessness, isn't it?
You have to. That's why I already knew that God favored me when he gave me all this hardship. Because every time I came back better. It's really true. Every time if you do it, if you just don't give up, you always come back better. And so that's why I'm not even afraid of having any hardship in my life anymore, because I already knew I had to embrace darkness to see the light again. It really works like this. But a lot of people are running from the darkness. They are too afraid.
Yeah. I wanted to add something to that, but I can't quite get the saying right. It's something like you need to have the rainy days to appreciate the sunny ones.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. But in my country, it's reversed. If it's a sunny day, they already talk about a rainy day the next day. So yeah, it's really how the mindset is programmed.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think mindset is so important when it comes to anything in life and how you tackle anything, and also it's going to dictate what you're actually able to achieve. You know, I had it once, right? I was boxing and I was training for a fight. We only got told like a couple of days before that the fight was going to happen, but I was still training. I was still training. Someone had dropped out and they said, you know, you're the right weight. Do you want to step in? And I came into the fight. I was really confident, super chill. Like training had been going well, and I felt pretty fit. I was still bodybuilding at the time, so I'd done like heavy deadlifts the day 2 days before, because I didn't know the fight was going to happen. So I'm in the fight, I'm a little bit stiff, and but regardless, I've come into the ring and I lost straight away, because the first thing I thought when I saw him was, I was like, oh, this guy's pretty big actually. He looks quite big. And then my mindset shifted. I felt, you know, when you feel that feeling in your body where you can feel it run through your body. I stepped in and I was like, oh, he's a pretty big guy, this guy. Yeah. And it just, from that point on, I didn't actually get knocked out. I lost on points, but I was clinching a lot. I wasn't fighting properly. And I knew from that moment, I was just started feeling sorry for myself. Even my coaches in my corner, like, Theo, snap out. Like, I just couldn't. I was just in this, because my mind was wrong. And
but it's not only you, it's also your opponent who noticed this.
Yeah.
Because that's what Mike Tyson said. Before I started the fight and I was looking in their eyes and they looked away, I already knew I won the fight. Because I sensed some insecurity. Yeah. And I utilized that. Yeah. That's literally how it works. Yeah. So that's why sometimes being delusional is getting you at that point. Yeah. Because people would think you're delusional until it's not.
You have to go through it. I made sure it never happened again. That's for sure. Yeah. You know, and I think that's the most important thing. No one's perfect. None of us, you know, I've made mistakes, you've made mistakes. And I think that's also important, because the thing is with a lot of people watching this is, it can feel like other people are just so far ahead that they never went through the things that they're going through, or that our life was never like theirs. Actually, it is. We're no different to any of those people. We had the jobs. We've been through these things. I've lost fights. I had bad mindset. I had scarcity. I was scared at times. I felt uncomfortable. All of this.
But everybody's journey is also different. Yeah. It can still be that you find yourself at your 40s or your 50s. Yeah. I think Charlie Munger. Do you know him?
Yes. Yeah.
When did he become a billionaire?
I don't know exactly.
In his 50s? And before that, he was always working to a 9 to 5. So you're telling me, like, I felt like I've been working in a 9 to 5 quite long. This guy was on his 9 to 5 job till his 50s or something. And then he became a billionaire. So it can still happen. Everybody has a different journey. But the thing is, you just should not be discouraged by other people's success. That they maybe have their success in their early 20s doesn't mean that you're going to end up at the same level of success maybe 10 years later. Yeah.
I think, again, it's just looking at it in a different way, isn't it? If someone else achieves something and they're successful at something, you just need to think of that as, well, that's proof that it can be done. That there's clearly an opportunity here. And this is what always makes me laugh when people will be like, this is saturated, this can't be done. It's saturated because it works, because a lot of people are doing it. That doesn't mean that you can't make money in it. It means you can make money in it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a different way of looking at it.
It's completely true. But yeah, again, the older you get, the more bad habits you have, the stronger your conditioning is, the harder it is to get out of it. That's why it's crazy. This guy still became a billionaire when he was 50 or something.
For sure. But you know what? There's one thing I've always said every year, and that's that, and I'm sure it will change at one point because it will come a diminishing, but I've always said I actually enjoy or appreciate, is a better word, getting older. Because I just understand so much more. Life makes so much more sense. Think about how much changes in a month, 6 months, a year. There was a saying that a boxer said in the UK. I remember it very, very well from like watching an Instagram reel, maybe like 6-7 years ago. His name's Conor Ben. He's a boxer in the UK, and he said, "If you knew me yesterday, you don't know me today. That's how fast I grow." And in some senses, it's true. You know, okay, maybe not in 24 hours, but you know, I was a different person a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. Especially when you think from my last birthday to this birthday. So much has changed, and for me, I always feel each year that I've become a little bit wiser. I understand things more, and you just feel more comfortable in your own skin. This is also why about a year and a half ago I stopped drinking alcohol, because it took me away from the person that I was, and I'm happy with who I am. I don't want something
alcohol doesn't benefit you in any way.
No, I don't want to come out of the state that I'm in, because I'm happy in this state, you know, and that takes me away from her. That's when.
Why do most of people drink alcohol?
To get out of the state that they're in.
To numb themselves from the problems that they actually have. So, and it's the only drug that you have to explain people why you're not using it. So weird, right?
Yeah.
So weird.
You don't drink? Why?
Why you don't drink? Come on, man. You're so boring. I'm like, who the fuck are you to tell me I'm boring? The fact that you need alcohol to be not boring says more about you than about me. So you gotta have a strong mindset, because a lot of people then still say, okay, one drink then. No, it's not gonna happen. I don't drink. Yeah. It's also how strong your mindset is.
For sure. And the state of mind that you're in, 100%. Well, we.
How long did we talk? 1.5 hours.
1.5 hours.
Told you.
You want longer? I think we're probably gonna have to come out because of the
No, I said I told you it's going to be longer than 1 hour.
I know. Oh yeah, for sure. But
no, I think it's a nice way to end it like this.
Definitely, brother. I guess what we could say is I think we shared a lot in this conversation on your journey, which I really enjoyed hearing about, and some of the changes that you've been through.
But also your journey, bro.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
It's quite the same journey you've had.
It is, and I often find similarities between guests when I speak to them. You know, and that's why I enjoy this so much. It was your first in-person podcast. So how did you enjoy it?
I think it went quite smoothly, man.
Yeah, for sure. I enjoyed it a lot.
I didn't prepare anything.
No, I mean,
I was just thinking about what am I going to say? What do I want to educate your listeners? I think I wanted to say what I wanted to say. But no, I think it went quite smooly. But it's also because of you. Because what I notice is you listen very carefully, which is also a skill. Because most people, they hear it, but they don't listen it. And then I when you ask me some questions, I was like, wow, this guy really listened to what I'm saying. It's a skill. It's a very important skill.
I appreciate it. It's probably why I've been with my missus for so long, because I actually listen to what she's saying.
You have to listen,
But I really enjoyed it, but I really appreciate it.
Me too, man.
I enjoyed learning more about you and what you've been through, and just understanding you more as a person. And thank you for the kind words. I never want to interrupt people, because it's always so interesting hearing what other people have to say.
Yeah, but sometimes you need to reflect on it, you know?
And hopefully some of the questions made you reflect on some things as well.
Yeah, definitely. The one you said in the beginning, like, why did these situations happen over and over again that somebody told me I couldn't and I proved them wrong? Maybe that's my motivation, you know?
Yeah. Well, once again, thank you so much, brother. I really, really enjoyed it. And really enjoyed our conversation.